All right, it looks like I'm finally live. Pardon the technical difficulties, you guys, but thank goodness I am here, okay? Hello, hello. Valerie Lewis right here coming to you live from the suburbs of Washington, D.C. And today is day 9 of our Business Builder Book Club. Okay, when it comes to the book that we're on right now, which is The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, we're getting into chapter 8. Okay, and so reason why this is day 9 instead of day 8 for those of you that are just tuning in is because we actually got started with the preface. I always think that's really important to start off with that. So yes, this day we are going to be talking about thinking in the certain way. So we've been talking about, okay, there's a science to this. There is a certain way that allows people to be able to um, become wealthy, gain riches. What is it, right? So we've gone through that through these first few chapters and establishing a nice solid foundation. And now we can move forward and start thinking in this certain way that is an exact science to help you getting rich in accumulation with everything else that we've learned so far and everything that we're going to learn in the future. All right, so here we go. Pardon my hair. I didn't have time to do anything fancy, so okay, but that's not why you're here, so boom. All right, so I got a lot from this chapter. Make sure you share in the comments what you think about this, what your biggest takeaways were. um, so he starts off the chapter telling you to go back um, a couple chapters before this one. Go back to chapter 6 and read that again. And for those of you that recall, chapter 6 is when he was talking about the man who, was renting out this house. He didn't really have very much. He was very poor, barely had enough to just be able to survive, having shelter and whatnot. And how he started to form a mental image of his house. Okay. And as he did that, first he asked for small things, and then he was able to get those, that those things came into his life once he set that mental picture on it. And then, eventually he was able to purchase the house and then start renovating the house in the way that he pictured it in his mind. Okay. So you got to remember that's the first thing. You can't create until you think about it. You're not going to be able to really have what you want until you know what you want. And knowing is up here. It starts in the mind, right? Which we go on to talk about. So let's see. So yeah, that's like basically what's in the first paragraph. You must form a clear and definite mental picture of what you want. You cannot transmit an idea unless you have it yourself. So he reminds you, go over your desires just as the man I have described went over his house. See just what you want, get a clear mental picture of it as you wish it to look when you get it. That clear mental picture you must have continually in mind, just as the sailor has in mind the port toward which he is sailing the ship. You must keep your face toward it at all time. You must no more lose sight of it than the steersman loses sight of the compass. I love that. Oh, that's hot. That's fire. I like that. Okay. So he says it's not necessary. Okay, what I'm about to go into really hit home for me. And it's something that I teach my coaching clients as well. Okay, my business coaching clients. And I'm so glad he touches on these things. The following few paragraphs, man, we're about to really get into this. All right. So hold on, give me 1 second, you guys. I need to move a few tabs around and stuff. Okay, because I want to make sure I keep checking back in for any comments or anything. Okay, so he says, it is not necessary to take exercises in concentration, nor to set apart special times for prayer and affirmation, nor, quote, go into silence. Okay? All right? Nor to do any of those occultic stunts of any kind. Okay? So, what you believe is occultic, okay? We're not going to get into all of that in the comments. Like, that's not the point of this whole chapter. Like, I want us to stick to the point. Okay? And have an intellectual conversation about, and philosophical about the book. about what the topics in the book, the subject of what this is all about, the main idea, if you will, of this chapter. Okay, so then he goes on to say their things are well enough, but all you need is to know what you want, and to want it badly enough so that it'll stay in your thoughts. Spend as much of your leisure time as you can in contemplating your picture. But no one, listen to this, no one needs to take exercises to concentrate his mind on a thing which he really wants. It is the things you do not really care about which require effort to fix your attention upon them. Think about that, y'all. Because I get a lot of clients telling me, oh, Val, I want to be successful in my business, but I don't know how to concentrate on it. All these other things come up and then I can't do it. Then you don't really want the success in your business. And it's harsh, and people are like, oh my God, you're criticizing me. That's judgmental. Look, I'm your coach. It's like having a personal trainer. Don't come to your personal trainer talking about, oh my goodness, I want to be able to lose weight. I want to be able to be more lean. I want to be able to be healthier. I want my heart to be healthier. And then you're talking about, but I can't concentrate on doing these reps. Thoughts come to mind of cheesecake or something. I don't know. Like, if it's something that you really want, you will focus in on it. I want you to think about this in any other aspect of your life. If there is a person that you are falling in love with, this person is on your mind, is someone you really want to be with, and you do whatever is necessary to make sure that you're with them. That makes sense, right? Okay. And when it comes to, wanting to have a child, right? When you and your spouse are making that decision, you guys try and try again, and hopefully you have fun doing it. But I mean, you try and try again, and that thought is in your mind, and you start picturing not only when that takes place, but the process that you guys are getting ready to go through in your of the pregnancy and the delivery and bringing the baby home from the hospital and dressing the baby and feeding the baby and nursing the baby and watching the baby's first step. Like, all of these thoughts are in your mind before any seed was ever fertilized. Hello. Before any egg was ever fertilized. So it's like, you're right. When I really want something, right? Or let's say you're just hungry. You really want to eat. It does not matter if it's not time for your lunch break yet. You will find a way to reach into your desk and find a granola bar or something. If you're hungry, you're hungry. Okay? Like, that's the type of stuff that he's talking about. And so you really have to get clear on what you want. And he's going to go into that a little bit more, so I don't want to spoil the surprise. But he goes on to say, and unless you really want to get rich, so that the desire is strong enough to hold your thoughts directed to the purpose as the magnetic pole holds the needle of the compass, it will hardly be worthwhile for you to try to carry out the instructions given in this book. So right here, we're at a crossroads. Right here is your fork in the road. What are you going to do? Are you going to continue along this path and continue reading this book? Or have you realized, maybe I don't really want to get rich? Maybe I want to stay where I am. This is sounding like a little bit too much for me. It's too much work. I don't really want to, have to do things in a certain way. I'm just hoping for luck. I'm just hoping one day money drops in my pocket. I'd rather go play the lottery than follow the directions in this free book that I got from Val that changes people's lives. Hey, some people are feeling like that. This would probably be the time for you to drop out of the book club, close the book, put it away, go give it to somebody else, because it's gut check time. This is the time for you to stop running from yourself, stop hiding, stop saying all the politically correct things and the things that you think people want to hear, and you need to look within and make a decision. Do you really want to get rich for the purposes that we talked about in the earlier chapters of the book, which is for you to fully be able to express yourself and live a full life in mind, body, and soul? Not to be rich just to have riches, just to roll around naked in dollar bills. No, it is for a purpose. to enhance the lives of every human being that you encounter on this planet, to help society be better, to help the world be better, right? If that is not your desire, if you thought it was, but you're discovering it's not, because you're letting your fears or your anxieties or your circumstances and your excuses, if you like keeping those around, if those blankets keep you snug as a bug in a rug at night, stick with that. Now would probably be a good time to drop out. But for those of you who are determined to be able to live your lives by design and to be able to have the freedom that we all talk about, like especially in this country, we talk about living the American dream, having ownership of our lives. Basically, when we talk about we want to own our own homes, we want to own our own vehicles, it's so that you can own more choices. Right? If you own your home, you can do whatever you want with that. You can decorate it. You can make more space in it as your family grows. When it comes to owning your own transportation, sure, we've got buses, we've got subways, we've got trains, taxi cabs, Uber, Lyft, right? We got all these things, but if you get a ride that way, you have to go according to their schedule. What if you just feel like hopping in the car one day and going to McDonald's or going to the mall? You have a choice to do that very thing, right? You want to have the freedom to have more than enough money, not just enough money, because you'll never know what enough is. If all you focus on is, I just want to make enough money to pay my bills every month, what happens when the bill goes up? What happens when a relative like your child calls you from college and says, oh my gosh, I'm in a huge mess and I need some help, and you can't get to them because you don't have the money for transportation to get to them, or money to wire them to help them out with this, whatever the situation is. Maybe they need more books, maybe they need more food, maybe they need more clothes, maybe they need transportation, maybe they need you and you need to get there, right? When it comes to, spiritual, you would love to be able to give to your church and make contributions, both physically being there as well as monetarily, so that it will continue the mission of the message that you guys want to share with the world. Right? So you need to make a decision. We all do, myself included. We need to make a decision as to what we truly want deep down inside. There's no more hiding, there's no more suppressing it, because as children we're always told, yes, express yourself. I got to play make believe when I was a kid, and sometimes I had on like a skirt and a towel tied around me, around my shoulders, and like my galoshes on, because those were the only like boots I had that I could wear in the summertime that weren't winter boots, that my parents would let me go in the backyard and run around and play, and I was Supergirl. And then I'd take off the cape, take off the boots, and then boom, I was Wonder Woman. And all these cool things that I was able to do. And then as you get older and you go to school and people are telling you now, don't have an imagination anymore. That's just a dream. Forget that. Do whatever. Look around, see what you can do, and just, get in where you can fit in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are we really doing this? Are we doing this to our future generations, telling them not to think bigger? Because it's the bigger thinkers, it's the people that work smarter and not harder that have done all of our inventions, all of some of our biggest contributions to science and technology and things like that. And we're telling people not to think anymore and just follow these directions. Just go to school, memorize this work so that you can pass the test and get an A, and then boom, go to work, and then listen to all the instructions that they tell you to do, and then do that, get a paycheck, and be happy. Goodbye. And nobody's happy like that, living like a robot. So think about what you want, because that's one of the reasons why I decided I'm not gonna finish college. It's just not my thing. And I decided to go into cosmetology because I had a passion for that. I wanted to create. And then I realized I also have a gift of being able to educate people. And that's what I'm all about. You guys know, educate, enlighten, and empower. Right? So I said, you know what? I want to be able to do this on a much bigger scale than I could ever do as a hairstylist. And so I started working from home, along with a lot of other reasons. You guys have to watch my Meet Me video. But along with a lot of other reasons, that I decided to start my home business. And now my business is global in more ways than one. I can reach more people all around the world. I'm not just local anymore. And when I'm working, I can be anywhere I want to be. And I don't have to physically be there. Just like Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, right? I don't have to be there. So I want y'all to see that real quick. All right. Boom. Whoops. Boom. Okay. So most people are on this side of the quadrant. You're never going to get rich if you're on this side. If you're on the blue side, on the left side, you are not going to be able to create the riches unless you start thinking in a certain way and doing things in a certain way to take you from where you are now and transfer you over to where you are going to want to be. And that's what happened to me. Okay. I had like 2 jobs as a teenager, and I was like, jobs is not my gig. Nope. And then I moved over into self-employment, and I thought I had freedom. I thought I was a business owner over here. Nope. And so I just basically owned a job. As a hairstylist, that's exactly what I was doing, right? I had to physically be there and spend all my time in that salon in order to create riches. And when I did, I was so exhausted. I exhausted my body. I exhausted my mind. And I was just like, by the time I got home, I just wanted to plop down, go to sleep. Okay. But then I had to start thinking in a certain way. I had to start thinking about what it is that I truly wanted. And the whole reason why I started becoming a hairstylist and becoming self-employed was because I thought this is where I was going to be able to have some freedom. Not only financial freedom, but time freedom to spend with my children. And they were growing up so fast. What was I going to do? So then I realized I'm not a true business owner being self-employed. Okay, I needed a system. I needed to stop leveraging my time for money. I needed to stop thinking in a way that I'm going to actually sell off hours of my life for very small amounts of. Lots of people are working off of, $10 an hour. You think about that. You're selling an hour of your life that you will never get back again for $10 or $15 or $50. I would make $50 doing a blowout. I could do that in less than an hour, right? $50 an hour isn't even enough. Of my life? Nah. We always go around talking about life is precious and life is invaluable, right? And then when somebody says, look, I know you want to make $80,000 entry level, but what you gonna get is 30. And we're like, okay. No, there's no freedom there. There's no freedom there. So I needed to start thinking in a certain way. And I started to think about, okay, here's where I am now. I don't want to stay here though. I want to be over here as a business owner. So how do I get here? And I needed to develop a system where people work for me or with me, right? Where I could have customers that could come in, they can purchase without me needing to physically be there like I had to do in my salon, where I could sell services where a lot of times I didn't necessarily have to physically be there. Thank God for social media and video and stuff. Sometimes I can go live like I am now. Sometimes I can record things like video trainings, courses, things like that, webinars, and still be able to provide value to people like we were talking about before. And I give them so much more in use value, right? I give them so much more in what they learn from me than I ever ask for monetarily. And that's what got me over here. So now I have a couple of systems that I have in place for my businesses online, and this is allowing me to leverage. So now I can make money while I'm asleep. Like Warren Buffett says, if you don't make money in your sleep, you're going to work until you die. I was like, oh, heck no, I'm getting out of here. Okay. I'm not doing that. Right. And people are living past their retirement these days. Okay. So it's a blessing that people are living longer, but it's a curse because they're running out of money and they have to go back and be a greeter at Walmart or working in the drive-thru at McDonald's and things like that. Selling off these extra years of their life, unfortunately. I'm like, why don't you work online? And I've seen baby boomers, I've seen people who are senior citizens starting a business. Yes, even in those later years, they're starting a business and they're flourishing. And I love it. I love that because they started thinking in a certain way. Okay. And then once you go from there, then you can really hit the big time and start investing, right? And honestly, when you start your business, it's an investment. You take a risk with your money to get started with a business, and then you work and work and figure this out until you get the results that you want. Okay, so that's like what I started thinking about when, as I was reading this chapter, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so good. That's so good. So then you can start taking your money and allowing the money, sorry, can y'all see that? Taking the money and allowing the money to make more money for you. The people that are living those dream lives, they're not any different from you. Okay? Lots of them, as a matter of fact, started off in worse conditions than what you're living now. And yet they were able to create the life that they wanted. You're no different from them. All of us human beings are basically the same when it comes to, we get the same 24 hours a day. We've got to, if we're completely healthy, we got our arms and legs, we can speak, we can walk, we can talk, and you can think. And it's your thought. It is your thought that is where everything begins. Okay? So I wanted to share that with you guys because this is what I'm getting from the book. So hopefully you're sharing in the comments what you're getting from the book as well, and we can discuss those things also. Okay? So, hey Mike, what's going on? Good to see you. Good to see you, Mike, in the building. All right, so he's about to step on some toes right here. Some people are going to get offended. Thank goodness I read this book like shortly after I made a decision. I was like, I don't care what this book says. I'm going to keep an open mind, and whatever he advises, I'm going to follow it. Okay? So here we go. Y'all ready for this? I don't know. But he says, the methods herein set forth are for people whose desire for riches are strong enough to overcome mental laziness and the love of ease and make these methods work. The more clear, so hold up, before I even go, look, are y'all understanding that when you say, oh, this is my routine, sometimes people's routine is mental laziness. They do not want to create their dream life anymore. They have exchanged that. They have forfeited their dreams to be able to simply get up, go to work, get paid. Cool. I don't like my work. I don't like my boss. I don't like my supervisor, but it's okay because at least I'm getting a paycheck. We have to get out of the greed. I'm sorry, that's greedy. That's greedy. You got to get out of that, because if money isn't everything, then why are you selling your life for it? Right? I would much rather be able to spend time with my kids. And I actually started off, when I started my home business, I took a huge pay cut, and we had to drastically reduce the budget in order for me to start the business and still be able to make sure we have enough savings and everything to take care of the kids while I was trying to figure this thing out. Okay? Because at the time I was a newly, single mom and having to deal with, those things. I just wanted to make sure I was going to be responsible as well. And so we had to tighten up on some stuff. Okay? So the money, yeah, I could have stayed in the salon and kept making some good money, but I would much rather exchange that for having my freedom and being able to breathe and being able to sleep at night and having joy in my life and being able to spend more time. Like, that's what I was thinking about. And yes, of course, in order for me to do that, I was going to have to get rich, which meant I needed to let go of my idea of what that looked like. Because back then, I thought $1,000 a week was a great thing. Oh yeah, $4,000 a month, cool. 4 or 5,000, I like that. Now I can make $1,000 days, and I can do that while I'm asleep. Like, it's ridiculously awesome. Okay, so if you're going to have to let go of some of these old-fashioned ideas, you're going to have to let go of the mental laziness of just, well, I don't like it, but at least it pays the bills, and I'm stuck in this routine. I don't know how to get out, right? Or the love of ease. It's easy. It's easy to just hop in your car and complain all the way to work, and then once you get to work, you shut your mouth and you just do what needs to get done, and then you get your paycheck. Like, a lot of people do that too. So you're going to have to make sure that your desire to have the life that you want and build the riches to make that happen is going to be able to overcome that mental laziness and that love of ease. Okay? So I didn't say it. He said it. He said it first. Okay? Don't get mad at me. Get mad at Wallace. And he's not with us anymore. So you'd be wasting your time. So anyway, he goes on to say, the more clear and definite you make your picture, all right, and the more you dwell upon it, bringing out all its delightful details, the stronger your desire will be. And the stronger your desire, the easier it'll be to hold your mind fixed upon the picture of what you want. Something more is necessary, however, than to merely see the picture clearly, because if that's all you do, you're only a dreamer and you'll have little or no power for accomplishment. Okay, so behind your clear vision must be the purpose to realize it, to bring it about in tangible expression. And behind this purpose must be an invincible and unwavering faith that the thing is already yours, that it is at hand, and you have only to take possession of it. Live in the new house mentally until it takes form around you physically. In the mental realm, enter at once into full enjoyment of the things that you want. Whatsoever things ye ask for when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them, said Jesus. Hello. Okay, and whether you're a Christian or not, right? Like, it's pretty clear that Jesus was on this planet, okay? And even if all you see him as is this amazing teacher and rabbi, like, come on. Boom. Right there. That's the truth right there. He said, hey, I am recording. That he says, I came to bring you life and life more abundantly. He talks about when you are praying that you should ask and believe, and then you'll receive them, right? That's right here. And he says it's mentioned more than once, okay? So I know a lot of people talk about, oh, the Lord's Prayer, the Lord's Prayer. The Lord's Prayer, he told us what he wants us to pray for. When you're praying, you need to pray, ask for it, believe that you're going to get it, and then you'll get it. Like, that's what he said. Hello. Okay, anyway, because I don't even want to, okay. Like, please, we're not starting a debate in here. I'm just sharing my ideas, okay? So anyway, see the things you want as if they were actually around you all the time. See yourself as owning and using them. Make use of them in imagination just as you will use them when they are your tangible possessions. Dwell upon your mental picture until it's clear and distinct, and then take the mental attitude of ownership toward everything in that picture. Take possession of it in mind, in the full faith that it is actually yours. Hold on to this mental ownership. Do not waver for an instant in the faith that it is real. And this is why I was telling you guys, it's more than just a thought. And he just said that himself. If all you do is just think about it, even if you think about it in detail, and that's all you do, then that's just a dream. Like, no. What you need to have with it is the belief, basically, is what he's saying, right? So not only do you think about it, but you have an unwavering faith that it is coming to you. It is on its way. There are things set in motion. There are people getting ready to make decisions and take certain actions that will have an indirect effect on the things that you want, right? Or a situation that you would like to have unfold for you. Okay, so that is, I just love the fact that he brought that up. And he also says, and remember what is said in a preceding chapter about gratitude. Be as thankful for it all the time as you expect it to be when it has taken form. The man who can sincerely thank God for the things which as yet he owns only in imagination has real faith. he will get rich. He will cause the creation of whatsoever he wants. You do not need to pray repeatedly for the things that you want. It is not necessary to tell God about it every day. Okay? God does not forget stuff. He chooses not to remember your sins once you are saved, but it's not that he forget. Look, he's not old, okay? He ain't got Alzheimer's. Stop it. Leave him alone, okay? Stop asking for the same stuff over and over and over again, because when you do that, actually you're not exercising your faith, you're exercising your doubt. For you to feel like you have to keep saying it and like keep like tapping God on the shoulder saying, could you get that? It's like you have a fear that he's not going to do it unless you continue to ask him over and over and over again. And now you're asking in vain, you know? So anyway, use not vain repetitions as the heathens do, said Jesus to his pupils, for your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things before ye ask him. Okay? So God already knows. The universe knows what you want. But the thing is, God is not forceful. So this is why you need to ask. He knows what you need. He also knows the desires of your heart. He knows what you want. But you have to ask and believe it. And then he can get into operation and make it happen for you. But he's never going to make you be blessed. He's never going to make you receive him. Okay, so that's all up to you. And this is why these things start in the mind. Okay, so your part is to intelligently formulate your desire for the things which make for a larger life, and to get these desires arranged into a coherent whole, and then to impress this whole desire upon the formless substance, which has the power and the will to bring you what you want. So here's something. He didn't bring this up in the book, but I'm going to bring it up. There's a passage of scripture in the Bible, and if you don't believe in that or you don't read it, I respect that, but I wanted to bring this up because it brings it to my mind, and I wanted to add it to the discussion. There's a passage in the Bible about the man who was at Bethsaida or Bethesda, depends on whatever translation you're reading. But he's been crippled for 38 years. Interestingly enough, the same amount of time the Israelites were wandering through the wilderness. But anyway, so he's been crippled for 38 years sitting by this pool. Now this particular pool or fountain, once a year an angel would come down from heaven and he would stir up the waters, and that water would be healing. And so the people who were able to get into the water would be healed. And he was saying, well, I've been sitting here for 38 years. Nobody will help me get into the pool. I can't do it by myself. I'm stuck here on this bed. So Jesus comes along one day, excuse me, and he has the power to heal, obviously. At this point, he has healed a lot of people. And so he sees the man and he goes up to him and he asks him, do you want to be well? Now, a lot of people would think, that's a silly question. But the thing is, you have to express your desire out of your mouth. You have to think the thought and then express that. You have to share that. And so when he says, do you want to be well? And he's like, well, see, what had happened was, and he goes into this whole story. He doesn't answer the question. He doesn't answer the question. He starts bringing up all of his excuses, all of his problems. Oh, woe is me. And Jesus is like, okay, well, you want to be well or not? And he's like, I know that